if he understands giving tax breaks for private planes more than he understands making sure that seniors who've worked all their lives are able to retire with dignity and respect.
Former President Barack Obama on the campaign trail doing an incredible job stumping for Mandela Barnes here. I'm going to show you a couple of clips. And this is, in my opinion, I don't know. Obama's always been a great, orator. He's always a great communicator, great at the politics aspect of the job. But this is him in rare form. I don't know if I've ever seen him this worked up before. And I'll get to, discussing more on that after the clip, but holy crap, he looks great here. So again, this is in Wisconsin, stumping for Mandela Barnes in the U.S. Senate race against Ron Johnson, a far right-wing Republican who is a full-on Trump supporter. All the questioning around 2020, all that garbage, Ron Johnson is right in there. So here is Obama doing an incredible job talking about a very important issue that Republicans are going after.
Some of you here are on Social Security. Some of your parents are on Social Security. Some of your grandparents are on Social Security. You know why they have Social Security? Because they worked for it. They worked hard jobs for it. They have chapped hands for it. They had long hours and sore backs and bad knees to get that Social Security. And if Ron Johnson does not understand that, if he understands giving tax breaks for private planes more than he understands making sure that seniors who've worked all their lives are able to retire with dignity and respect, he's not the person who's thinking about you and knows you and sees you, and he should not be your senator from Wisconsin.
My goodness. What? Why is no other Democrat fighting like this? Look, I love Bernie Sanders, right? But even Bernie does not get this worked up. At least not, usually. This is exactly the kind of emotion you should be showcasing. Now, look, in a second, of course, yes, there are fair criticisms here of Obama on this particular issue. Yes, he wanted to cut Social Security while he was president, and then Bernie Sanders happened. So Bernie Sanders made supporting Social Security and Medicare incredibly popular, and now Democrats, of course, have run with that message. But there was a time when it was very different. And yes, also to be fair, he didn't cut it, but they were planning to in a way that made it seem like they weren't directly cutting it, but they actually were. But anyways, I'll link to this piece in the Intercept below the video. You can read through it and understand all that context. But for me, this clip here is about the politics of it. It's not about, Obama and his record. It's about what Democrats should be doing and how they should be on the campaign trail, how they should be speaking to voters, how they should be discussing these very important issues that matter to them, like Social Security, and doing it in a way where you are passionate, where you actually show that you care about them. Obama here, just perfect. And I'm going to get to another clip in a second. Actually, I'll do it right now. And later on in this video, I'm also going to get to a sort of an aside, but it's going to be connected to this next clip, a about to be breaking news story around what Joe Biden is potentially planning to announce and may have announced as this video is going up. But first, let me get to this clip here where Obama is discussing the Republican obsession with tax cuts for the rich.
When unemployment's high, what do you want? Let's cut taxes on the wealthy. That's going to solve that. I was joking down in Georgia. If there was an asteroid headed towards Earth, it's going to land in like 2 weeks. If you went in the Republican caucus and you said, what do you want to do? Well, we need a tax break for the wealthy. That's going to help. I'm only barely exaggerating. That's their only economic policy. The only one. And it's been their only one for the last 20 years. I mean, it'd be nice, if every problem you had, you just had one answer. Those of you who are young, you're still in school, you go to the math exam. It's like every answer is just number 8. Just write 8. You'd get an A. But that's not how the world works.
Anger, comedy, passion. This man has it all. As just a pure politician, again, understanding he's out of office, we don't have to criticize at the moment what he did or didn't do, and I have done a lot of that in the past, just as somebody to look to in terms of how you should be talking to voters. This is perfect. And, I mean, it's kind of a reference, kind of stealing the idea of the movie Don't Look Up. But anyways, regardless, good idea to steal here for the speech. But it's exactly right. Republicans, all they care about is tax cuts for the rich and deregulation. Now, on what Biden may be potentially announcing that is connected to this because of the whole inflation discussion here, Biden is expected to call for a windfall profits tax on oil and gas companies in his speech today. If this happens, this would be incredible. This is what Bernie Sanders has been calling for forever. It's good to see Biden is maybe now seeing the popularity of him doing things that are popular. Can you imagine? Like marijuana, cannabis reform, very popular. His numbers went up. Student debt cancellation, very popular. His numbers went up. This, also very popular. The vast majority of people understand that corporations are screwing them. When it comes to inflation, there are estimates around 50 to 60%, if not more, of the inflation is actually corporate profits. So corporations jacking up prices, screwing people under the guise of inflation. And oil companies, of course, at the top of that list. So a little more quickly on this from the AP. So the White House said Biden will deliver remarks to respond to reports over recent days of major oil companies making record-setting profits, even as they refuse to help lower prices at the pump for the American people. A person familiar with the matter said Biden will float imposing a tax on the profits of energy companies as he seeks to pressure them to lower prices for consumers. The person spoke on the condition of anonymity to preview Biden's remarks. So it sounds like this is at least going to be an idea that is floated out there. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. We're going to see how the oil companies react to it. But this would be fantastic. Now, of course, the real solution to when it comes to particularly gas or fossil fuels is to nationalize the industry. Biden's not going to go that far. But this is, a good move to make. So we're going to have to see how far he goes, if it's just, talk, if he's actually going to follow through. Last thing here on that Wisconsin race, just taking a look at the polls here. Ron Johnson, this far right-wing Trump loon, is currently up by an average of 3.3%. But we'll have to see youth vote. Youth vote apparently, I think I just read today actually, in Wisconsin, youth vote in early turnout, early voting is up considerably from 2020, which again, that is a presidential election year. So for a midterm, for the youth vote to be up over a presidential election year in early voting is a really good sign. But again, I don't want to get people to get your hopes up too much. We have to see, what comes of all this. But one thing is for sure, if you're a politician, learn from Obama. This is how you speak to voters.